Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Felix. The Nigerian army says it has killed 14 Boko Haram insurgents in an operation in Borno State, northeast of the country. Army spokesman Brigadier General Texas Chukwu says the troops also rescued 21 hostages from the insurgents in Poka village in Goza local government area of Borno. The hostages were part of those kidnapped when the terrorists ambushed a military escort at Amdaga area in Poka. The rescue of the hostages comes a day after the senator representing Southern Borno in the National Assembly, Ali Undumi, demanded action and lamented over continued attacks by Boko Haram insurgents in the state. The trial of suspected kidnapper Chukwudumeme Onwomadike alias Evans and his co-defendants will on September 13, 2018 resume before Justice Adedayo Akintoye of the Lagos State High Court in Igboshere. The trial, which last held on June 26, 2018, had been put on hold as a result of the annual vacation of judges. Judges of the Lagos State High Court preceded their annual vacation on July 16th. They are scheduled to resume on Tuesday, September 11. Evans's trial is expected to resume on Thursday, September 13, before Justice Akintoye. He's facing two separate charges bordering on conspiracy to kidnap, kidnapping, and attempted murder. The Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, says the residents of Abuja have nothing to fear over the earth shaking recorded in some areas. The Mpape and Maitama districts of Abuja experienced some vibrations in the earth on Wednesday evening and Thursday morning, causing panic among residents. FEMA, in a statement from the office of its Director General, says the possible cause of the earth shaking might be as a result of earth tremor. The agency says the shaking is caused by stress in underground rocks resulting from human activities, including blasting and mining of rocks. While it's noted that the situation is abnormal, it said there is no cause for alarm as Nigeria is not in an earthquake zone. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NIHSA, has warned that a steady rise in water levels and weather forecasts for the coming weeks have put Nigeria at risk of witnessing a recurrence of catastrophic flooding, similar to what we witnessed in 2012. In 2012, a flooding affected up to 30 states in Nigeria and resulted in the deaths of over 300 people and displaced more than 2 million others, according to data from the National Emergency Management Agency. NIHSA believes the country is at risk of a recurrence of the disaster if adequate steps are not taken to curb that. This comes exactly 1 week after the agency issued a flood alert for 7 states: Kebbi, Niger, Kwara, Kogi, Anambra, Delta, and Bayelsa on the floodplains of River Niger. In politics, the number of registered voters in Nigeria has now increased to over 64 million following the just concluded continuous voter registration exercise. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu says the body registered 14 million new voters in the process, which ended last month. He says the commission has printed the copies of those who registered in 2017, while the copies of those who registered in 2018 will be printed before the end of the year.
For a period of 16 months, from 27th April 2017 to 31st August 2018, the exercise was conducted continuously in all the states of the Federation as envisaged by the Electoral Act. At the end of the exercise, a total of 14,551,482 new voters were registered. If this figure is added to the existing register of 69,000,000 720,350 voters, it means that the nation now has a voter population of 84,271,832. Although the figure may slightly drop after we run the automatic fingerprint identification system, the current figure represents 21% increase on the existing register. In addition to fresh registration, the Commission is also processing 769,917 requests for intra and interstate transfers, as well as 1,178,793 requests for replacement of lost, damaged, or cards with spelled names or incorrect personal details of voters as required by law. This means that the Commission has to print a total of 16,500,192 PVCs and make them available for collection by citizens ahead of the 2019 general elections. Already, the Commission has printed the PVCs for those registered in 2017 and delivered them to states for collection. I can also confirm that the PVC for 2.7 million registered voters in the first quarter of 2018 have been printed and will be delivered to the states next week.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has asked the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to hold President Muhammadu Buhari culpable for violating provisions of the Electoral Act. The PDP was reacting to the presidential nomination form bought for Buhari by a group known as the National Coordinator of Nigeria Consolidation Ambassadors Network, NCAN. The party says the gesture contradicts Section 91, subsection 9 of the Electoral Act, which states that no individual or other entity shall donate more than 1 million naira to any candidate. Former Governor of Kano State, Ibrahim Shekarau, has officially defected from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. Shekarau announced his decision to join the ruling party after a closed-door meeting with the national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshomole. The closed-door meeting was held on Friday in Kano State. Governor Abdullahi Gadunje and other top party officials were also at the meeting. Advocacy group Our Mumu Don't Do movement says it does not approve of any process that would end in the emergence of a consensus candidate. The group was reacting to the emergence of Fela Durotoye as the consensus candidate of the presidential aspirants coming together, pact. The movement says any democratic process of electing a flag bearer for a united front without public participation remains incomplete.
Our Mumu Don't Do movement strongly disapprove of any process or emergence of a consensus candidate that is devoid of the Nigerian people's participation or approval. We also wish to advise the leaders of the PACT initiative very strongly that further discussions on presenting a united front for a young presidential candidate should be postponed until the completion of presidential primaries in all concerned political parties.
We can't have 7 people deciding for us. We thought that all the 18 would come out and they will be part of that process. If that happened, then we would have gone ahead with it. But the fact that there were only, out of 18, only 7 people that ended up the vote, we think that we should start from beginning because we are allowed to make mistakes, but we're serious about creating this alternative.
President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to Abuja from China, where he attended the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC Summit. The president departed Nigeria on August 31st alongside 9 ministers and 4 state governors. He was also accompanied by Aisha, his wife, and one of his daughters. Before he left the Chinese capital, Buhari had a meeting with business groups whom he asked to take advantage of the improved business environment in Nigeria and invest in key sectors of the economy. He also solicited the assistance of the Chinese government towards the construction of the Mambila hydropower project in Taraba State. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is soliciting the support of the media in the fight against corruption. The chairman of the commission, Ibrahim Magu, also dismissed rumors suggesting some of its cases are politically motivated. He condemned governors and other public officials for hiding under immunity to avoid prosecution and investigation.
With general election fast approaching, the result has assumed even frightening dimension with political motives imputed to most of our activities. These days, it has become fashionable for anyone being investigated for corruption by the Commission to scream political persecution. Corrupt officials of state government are pleading immunities not ascribed to them by the Constitution. Some governors have also extended frontiers of their constitutional immunities by claiming that anti-corruption agencies cannot even investigate them. Sadly, some of our friends in the media help amplify these narratives and thereby diverting attention from the real issues. The times we are in call for vigilance, especially by the media as watchdog of society. I have stated in various fora, the EFCC is apolitical and will not knock on your door if you have not violated the law.
You're still watching news now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll be back with updates in business. To stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
It's time now for business. Let's say hello to Fidelia.
Hi, Aneta.
Well, the Central Bank of Nigeria recently raised an issue against MTN and some Nigerian banks over an alleged illegal transfer of a whopping $8.1 billion. Now, we know the stakeholders have been back and forth on this matter, but I know there's a new development on that today. Please bring us up to speed.
Indeed, Aneta, you're very correct. The Central Bank of Nigeria has debited the accounts of 3 banks to the tune of 5.61 billion naira, being the total amount of fines it imposed on them last week for alleged illegal repatriation of funds. Now, last week, the regulator imposed 5.87 billion naira fines on 4 banks for what it described as flagrant violation of extant laws and regulations of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, the 4 banks are Standard Chartered Bank, Stanbic IBTC Nigeria, Citibank Nigeria, and Diamond Bank PLC. It also directed the banks and MTN Nigeria Communications Limited to refund to the Apex Bank over $8 billion, which was said to have been illegally repatriated by the company. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has assured that there is enough fuel in the country. The NNPC advised motorists and other consumers of petroleum products not to engage in panic buying, as the NNPC management was close to reaching an amicable solution on the challenge. Now, the corporation assured that it has adequate storage of petroleum products across the country and advised that they should not entertain any fear of petroleum shortages. Meanwhile, global oil prices held steady on Friday as a fall in U.S. crude inventories to the lowest level since 2015 supported the market. U.S. crude futures were at $67.93 a barrel, while international Brent crude futures were up by 8 cents at $76.58 a barrel. Now, ongoing emerging market weakness, as well as potential new U.S. import tariff on Chinese goods, also weighed on oil market sentiment. Let's now take a look at the stock market. To stay with us. Glad to have you back. Now, just as the market began trading this week, it ended today actually in the red, declining by 0.21%. Now, if you must know, the Nigeria stock market began trading this week. It closed on Monday actually with a 0.03% decline in the all-share index. Now, today's all-share index is at 34,037.91 basis points. Now, this is a decline of over 800 basis point compared to how the market started trading this week. Now, the capitalization as well declined by about 292 billion naira to close today at 12.426 trillion naira. Now, that figure was the amount that the stock market closed on Monday. Like, if you deduct 292 billion naira, it will give you this figure. So if you add that up, it will give you the figure that the capitalization began trading on Monday. Now, taking a look at today's top gainers, we have Glaxo, we have Mobile, Dangote Sugar, and Diamond Bank. Now, Dangote Sugar is making its first entry on the top gainers chart today. Now, the company recently, just yesterday actually, announced the appointment of a new COO. Now, some investors might have seen this as a good reason to invest in Dangote shares, because the new COO of Dangote Sugar is well known for successes recorded while managing a host of other companies worldwide. So it might, beam a light on Dangote Sugar, and the shares of this company might just go up. So investors are quick, to, invest in Dangote Sugar. Hopefully, when it go up, they might just sell off and make some good gains. And we also have Diamond Bank on the top gainers chart. Diamond Bank has some bad news today. Today, 250 million naira was deducted from his account by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, Diamond Bank is one of 4 banks which are accused of helping MTN repatriate an amount of over $8 billion abroad. Now, they have denied these allegations, but CBN is not taking any part of, is not really, listening to what they're saying. Now, 250 million naira has been deducted from their accounts, but they're still on the top gainers table for today. Now, taking a look at today's losers, we can see that Dangote Cement lost all of its gains recorded yesterday to land on the losers chart today. Now, Dangote Cement led yesterday's gainers, but today it is on the losers chart, more like it traded place with Dangote Sugar to make this chart. And yesterday it closed at 224 naira, but today it is seen at 223 naira. It was also a bad day for Union Bank of Nigeria, WAPCO, that is Lafarge, and Zenith Bank. And on our top traders chart, we have Guarantee, Zenith, Sovereign Insurance, and Fidelity Bank. Again, it is dominated by the banking sector like it was yesterday and on Wednesday. Now, Guarantee is making its second day on the top traders chart. Yesterday, it was on the losers table, so this means that investors are fast selling off their shares of Guarantee, Trust Bank, and the reason might just be, maybe the shares have gone so low that some investors can afford it. So probably some are buying and some are also selling off, which is why it is on the top traders chart. And we also have Zenith, who closed on the top losers chart today, closing on the top traders chart, which means that investors just might be selling off Zenith Bank shares. Now, looking at today's market summary, we can see that 155.95 million shares were traded today. Now, this is an increase of 200 million, about 200 million compared to the number of shares that were traded in the market on Monday. And the value is 2.103 billion naira on Monday. This closed at about 3 billion naira, 3.1 billion naira. So there's a decline in the value of shares traded. And the deals is 2,715. On Monday, it was 3,080. Now, it wasn't just the Nigerian stock market that closed in the reds once again. The global stock market is also in the red. Now, Dow Jones and Nikkei is in the red for 6 straight days now. And FTSE is spending the 4th day in the red. Now, that's been a look at the stock market. Over to you, Annetta.
Thank you very much, Fidelia. Well, it's no surprise to me that the bears have returned to the market. I remember you mentioned yesterday that a report showed that the NSE is the worst performing in Africa. Anyway, wrapping things up there in business, we'll take a break now and return shortly. Do stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
My name is Alero. I am not sick. I just need you to help put your stamp on this medical report. I want to tender it at my office as a sick leave. I'll pay 10,000 naira.
Ma'am, that is impersonation. I'm not a doctor.
Oga, be like say this English no go pay. I go increase the money to 20,000 naira. I beg. You know, if I give you that 20,000, as you wide, so if it still help your condition more. So you don't say you spread well.
As I spread like virus, I'll be.
You talk. Come
out! If person come your hospital, talk to make you give am fake medical report, make you go take collect sick leave. Talk and say no, na corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Aid groups say violence has forced about 50,000 people from their homes in northern and central Mali so far this year, significantly more than the same period last year. The Norwegian Refugee Council says there was a growing number of armed groups in the region, as well as communal clashes and ongoing military operations against Islamic militants. The United Nations says more than 5 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance in Mali, more than at any other time since conflict broke out 6 years ago. France has detained a suspected former militant commander from Liberia's brutal civil war and placed him under formal investigation for crimes against humanity for alleged atrocities, including torture and cannibalism, police said on Friday. Kunti K is suspected of being a former commander in the United Liberation Movement for Liberia for Democracy, ULIMO, which fought during the 1990s. He was arrested on Tuesday in the northeast Paris suburb of Boigny, where he had been hiding out at the home of a friend. He is suspected of torture, murder, slavery, the use of child soldiers, and cannibalism between 1993 and 1997. The leading candidate in Brazil's presidential election, Jair Bolsonaro, is in a serious but stable condition after being stabbed at a campaign rally, doctors said. The 63-year-old was stabbed in the city of Juiz de Fora, about 200 kilometers north of Rio de Janeiro on Thursday. The far-right presidential candidate underwent emergency surgery for a wound in the abdomen and could take 2 months to fully recover, said Luis Borasato, who operated on him. Nigeria will play Liberia in a friendly and in Monrovia next week after the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Seychelles, the team announced on Friday. The Super Eagles had originally been scheduled to play Saudi Arabia in a friendly, but the fixture was cancelled because of concerns about logistics. The Super Eagles were eliminated in the group stage at the World Cup in Russia. Tuesday's match in Liberia will follow the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Seychelles in Victoria on Saturday. In tennis, Serena Williams will have another shot at winning her first Grand Slam title since giving birth after defeating Anastasia Sevastova in 66 minutes in their US Open semi-final. Williams, beaten by Angelique Kerber in the Wimbledon final in July, won 6-3, 6-0 against Latvian 19th seed Sevastova. The 36-year-old American who played Japan's Naomi Osaka in Saturday's final after 20th seed beat Madison Keys. Victoria will equal Margaret Court's record of 24 Grand Slam single titles. It's a wrap here on News Now. Thanks for watching. I am Aneta Felix.